Hello, everybody. Bob here. Thought I'd pop in, say hello. I was trying to think of a interesting topic for today, and it occurred to me that many of you may have, when you were younger, had paper routes. Some of you did, some of you didn't, but I did when I was young. We had, in my town, we had two papers. We had a morning and an afternoon paper. And my route was an afternoon paper. They were usually a little smaller than the morning routes. But what I used to do, believe it or not, it seems so long, it was a long time ago, but the newspaper truck would come to a stop, and our particular stop was right in front of a barber shop. And he would unload bundles of newspapers, and the bundles were strapped together with thin wire. Not too thin, believe it or not, it was wire. So you had to have wire cutters to open up the bundles of papers. So what we used to do, since we were always getting some kind of mischief, what we would do is take that wire and cut it into little strips like that and bend them over. So they were kind of a U-shaped wire. And then we would take a couple of rubber bands. We used to use rubber bands back then to hold our newspapers together. We'd take a couple of rubber bands and double them up and use it like a slingshot. And we take that little wire and put it on the rubber. And we would try to shoot out street lights. And we were never able to do it. Our aim just wasn't that good. But it was a fun way to kill some time. And then I guess I was kind of a juvenile delinquent the more I think about it. But I would also, I'm getting off topic now, but they had these things called potato guns or spud guns. I don't know if y'all remember those. It was, you just get a potato, and it was a little pistol, a little handle that you could squeeze, and you'd stick the barrel into the potato to get a little wad of potato, and then you could pull that handle and it would shoot the potato wad out. So we used to take those sometimes we'd take the rubber bands and wire, but usually we would take the potato spud guns and go up into the balcony of the movies and shoot wire clips at the screen until the movie manager figured out what was going on and chased us off. But I mean, that was really juvenile delinquent stuff, wasn't it? But it sure was fun. We had a great time doing that. But anyhow, let me get back to the newspaper. So I can't honestly remember what time the paper got there. It probably was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you might have, I don't know, maybe 40 stops to make, 40 or 50. That was a pretty good size route. And so you'd get your bundle of papers, and we all had bicycles. Nobody was driving cars. We had bicycles with these big, oversized wire baskets that you connect to your handlebars and the bolts down at the front wheel. And we would take our newspapers, fold them. You'd open it up and fold half of the paper into the paper, or roll it and then wrap a rubber band around it and put it standing up straight and fill the basket like that. So that would take a little time. I don't know how long, maybe 20, 30 minutes at the most. So by 4:30 or so, you were ready to head out on your route. And that's what you do. You take off on your bike, your bike full of newspapers, and head up into whatever nearby neighborhood you were going to deliver. And you'd go just riding by, and you'd pull a paper out and throw it on somebody's porch or throw it in the sidewalk. And of course, every now and then one of them would go into the bushes and people would complain. And some people had special requests. They'd ask you to stop and please put it in a mailbox or do something. And you always did that because those people were going to tip you good at Christmas if you gave them good service. So this was 5 days a week. We didn't have afternoon paper on Saturday and Sunday. And so it was just 5 days a week. You'd go out, deliver your route, and it would take, I don't know how long, really. My memory's so bad now about those things. But I'm going to guess it was an hour. So you were probably done by 5:30, let's say 6 o'clock at the latest. Of course, in the winter, it was pitch black by then. In the summer, obviously it was not. It was no big deal what time you got finished. So maybe you get finished about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And what we had to do, remember now, this was long before computers. What we had to do was, we had a little book, and it was a little hard. It wasn't a book. It was just a fold over thing. It was heavy canvas sort of, and inside there were sheets of paper that were cut like little squares with a date on it, and you would go collect from all your customers. You had to collect the money for the route for the week's delivery, and when they paid you, you would tear a little square off. That was their receipt, and give them the receipt. And of course, each sheet of paper had the customer's name on it, so you knew who was who, who had paid and who had not. And so you do that, I don't know, maybe on Thursday or Friday, maybe. And then Monday, the manager, the paper route manager, would stop by, and he had a list. You knew too, because they gave you a bill. You knew how much money the newspaper man was going to be expecting to collect from you. So you'd go out and collect that amount, and you'd turn it over in a little envelope, and you'd give it to the paper route manager. And then anything that you hadn't collected or anything that was left over was yours. That's what you got paid, plus whatever tips people might have given you. Usually the tips, they didn't give you a tip every week. Usually what they did was give you some money at Christmas. So they'd give you a Christmas card or something like that. Oh, excuse me. And that's how you got paid. So it was fun. I did that for a while. Finally got tired of getting soaking wet in the winter and freezing. And some of my friends had morning routes, and the morning routes were usually much bigger than the afternoon routes. And I couldn't understand, I couldn't believe these guys could get up like at 5 a.m. and go out to the street. It was freezing cold and pitch black, and they'd get their route together. Sorry, I'm yawning. They'd put their route together and deliver it and come back and be ready to go to school. And I thought, God, that's brutal, man. I'm not doing that. I can't go out there at 5 a.m. I never would have made it if I'd lived on a farm, that's for sure. So anyhow, I did that for a year or so, finally got tired of it, and started looking around for other little part-time jobs. And eventually I was able to find a couple of things. I worked in a laundry for a while. That was a trip, putting the tags on shirts and stuff like that, and putting them in mesh bags and pinning them up, and sending them off to be washed. Did a number of other things. I apologize, people. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Hopefully some of you can relate to that. So what else can I tell you about delivering the paper? I think that's probably about it. It was a good little side hustle. We didn't call them that then. It was a job. It was a pretty good job. Anyhow, I just thought I would share that memory with you. If you have memories of any old childhood type jobs you had, babysitting, cutting grass. Oh, that's right. I cut grass in the summer. You got paid $5 for mowing a lawn. That was a lot of money. A lot. It was a big lawn if you got paid that much. So, yeah, if you have memories like that that you'd like to share, please don't hesitate. I would ask you to kindly subscribe if you feel motivated to do that. And in the comment section, share a little comment, talk about whatever little part-time jobs you might have had and anything else that you think might be of interest to the audience. This channel is growing very slowly, but it is growing. People have started subscribing, and I've had a couple of 3 people make comments. So that makes me feel good. I plan on continuing to do this. If you have a topic that you would like for me to talk about, I would love for you to give me that, okay? I just love it when folks tell me what they want to hear about. So I'll look forward to hearing from you real soon. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.